Welcome to the Stiff Truth. I'm Bob West. I'm here with my good buddy Scott Casanova. We've got a lot to talk about today. I'm excited about today's show. It's always nice to do a fun one. How you doing, Scott?
Get back to me on that one, Bob.
How you doing now, Scott?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. Not too bad, man. Not too bad at all. Thanks for asking. Woo. Another week in the books, my friend. Pretty good stuff going on. How was your week? Pretty good?
My week was okay. It was really busy. I had to go brave the Rona twice. So, there's that. The anxiety that brings. But other than that, the holiday was good. The kids seemed to be, doing their thing and not really kind of understanding what's going on. So, guess we're doing a pretty good job of that. And how was yours?
All the kids are ignorant of what's going on. Things are great. They have no idea. Doing pretty well, man. I mean, I do have to tell you right out of the gate, just because it's something that happened recently. Yesterday was a very relaxing day. I woke up pretty early, got a lot of things done. And I found myself in this position around, like 11:30, 11:45, I think it's time for a cocktail. I think it's time for a nice late morning, early afternoon cocktail. So I proceeded to start making cocktails, and I went down to the bar. I was like, what looks good today? I was like, White Russian. White Russian looks really good. So handled a few White Russians. Then I switched it up. I went to Guinness, had a few Guinness, and then I switched it up again, had some Scotch on the rocks, a few of those.
So pardon the interruption here, but so what time are we day talking? Or are we talking here? Is it now creeping up on 1:30?
Okay, so after I had the 3 White Russians, the 3 Guinness, and the 3 Scotches, it was about 2:30. No, I'm just kidding. No, we were probably getting closer to around 4 or 5 p.m. by this time. I wasn't pulling up, 100-yard dash here. I was doing the marathon. You know what I mean? I was in for the long haul.
Yeah, but you're in the top 10.
Yes, absolutely. But my point of all this is, and I've learned this lesson time and time again, is I had a really relaxing day, had a really relaxing evening, went to bed, and then middle of the night, I felt it coming. I felt what seemed to be a brewings of an atomic bomb in my stomach. So naturally, I had to go to the bathroom at, in the middle of the night, and then again about an hour later. And then when I woke up again, and I was like, oh my God, what did I eat last night that's causing this? And my wife's like, well, maybe it's like that you mixed every single alcohol that we have in the bar yesterday. I was like, oh, that probably was it. So lesson learned there. It was fun. It was tasty, but my gut did not agree with it, my friend. Not at all.
Well, I have a similar story to share.
Interesting.
So Friday night, we actually got some. Was it Friday night? Yeah, it was Friday night. We got some Chili's to go, some curbside. So we went down there and picked up our meal or whatever and got home. And I every time I have Chili's, it's total gut bomb for me. Mm-hmm. So it's always good on the way down. So McDonald's in that fashion, right? But then around 4:30 in the morning, I find myself, hastily or briskly walking to the bathroom.
That's a good way to put it. Almost like a please get the fuck out of my way politely.
So luckily, no one was in there. So I was able to make it. If not, I don't know, I would have just hanged a cheek out the window or something. Just second story bombed it down in the backyard. But so I had that happen. So I did wake up with gut bomb there. But then yesterday morning.
You have no idea what day it is right now.
I don't. I don't pay attention. So I'm judging it honestly. I'm thinking back in my head. I was like, what day is it? Did I start morning drinking? And then I thought, I haven't started drinking today. It must have been yesterday. So yesterday, it's 11:30, and I've already had enough. So I'm pouring myself 2 shots of whiskey, and my wife is like, really, babe? It's 11 fucking 30. And I'm like, I'm gonna ask my Facebook people what they think about my morning drinking, and like-minded folks agreed that it was the way to go. So I didn't feel bad about it. I did get totally validated with that, but I'm with you on the 11:30. It's not like it's 8:30 in the morning and we're like mixing eggs with a whiskey sour.
Yeah.
Here, kid, take this and leave me alone. I'm gonna drink.
Well, it's funny too. It's when Jess asked you, "Hey, babe, what are you doing?" You're like, I know, I'm running late, but I'm trying to catch up. I should have started this at 10:30."
Right. Don't worry, I can double up. So yeah, absolutely there with you. And who knows? Give another 6 weeks of Rona, and that time frame's just going to probably creep up like 20 minutes a week.
Yeah.
If we're still under lockdown in June, it'll be like 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock whiskeys.
Speaking of the Rona and everything here, stimulus checks that are supposed to be divvied up here. I haven't gotten one yet because, quite frankly, I guess I'm waiting for the paper check with Trump's name all over it. But you got yours, right?
I did.
Nice.
I got it on.
Did it feel good to get some of your money back? Does that feel good to get some of your money back?
I almost got the taxes that I paid last year back. Almost, unfortunately. It didn't quite cover that, but it was nice. I'm waiting for the repercussions of that later on, but hopefully there will be none. We'll see. I did, and it's funny. A lot of other people did too. So I'm going out there.
I started hearing the rumblings. Like earlier this week, a lot of people started saying they'd hit their bank account and stuff, right? So
well, you can tell by when you're going into Walmart or Costco, you can count the number of people wheeling out big screen TVs. And be like, oh, you got your stimulus, huh? Cool. Way to be responsible about that.
Buying big screen TVs made in China? I hope not.
So, I've seen this argument. And yeah, I guess in a way, you could say that if you're buying like a Samsung, you're supporting Korea, or if you're buying whatever the fuck China makes for TVs, you're buying that. They make the boards and the processors and all that and the parts there, no matter what. But in business, business, those expenses were actually on a fiscal cycle that was like a year ago. They've already gone out. They've already gotten their revenue streams from that. The retailers have already got it from the wholesalers, all that. And that's all happened months and months ago. So when you're actually buying it at this point, you're not actually helping them, at least for this fiscal cycle in any way. What you're doing, though, is you are contributing to those retailers, and you're helping their bottom lines. And so it's up to that argument of which economy we're helping, which I've seen a lot because no one really digs into, the intricacies of, retail business. But what you're really helping is you're helping those local retailers and those wholesalers that got them the TVs. And they're the ones that can make the difference. All right, well, next time I'll buy the Physios with parts that were made as part of the NAFTA agreement or whatever's coming from Mexico or Canada instead.
Sure.
But we all know they just order them from China too. So like the parts, no matter where the TV's made, those motherboards, the hardware all comes from China. Too.
I was definitely just fucking around because at the end of the day, so many things are made in China, and they'll continue to be made in China, even with this being, which should be a wake up call for a lot of American manufacturers to maybe bring some of this stuff back to the United States. As long as they're going to do cheaper labor and have less regulations, it's always going to be there. So, anyways,
it's the double-edged sword of the free market economy, right? Mm-hmm. Is if there's a cheaper way to get the parts manufactured and increase your profit margins, you're going to do it. It's just how it is.
So I'm taking it you didn't buy a TV.
I didn't buy a TV. I didn't.
Good for you.
Didn't even think about it. Well, maybe a quick thought, but no, I didn't. I didn't buy a TV, even though I do kind of need one. No, but I did buy a couple of things. I bought my wife a garden, a raised garden. So
good man.
We got that going for us. We're growing a couple of things in there. Hopefully
that'll get you a raised garden.
Hopefully it'll get me a raised something. So, and, it gives the kids an opportunity to do things, and it's like a family thing, and, we'll get a little bit of food out of it. with a 13-year-old boy that can eat the whole garden in one day, I don't think it'll help that much. It's more about, zen and something to do and having something to care for. But there was another purchase that I did get. I bought a new shotgun.
Ooh.
Yes, and mind you, at my wife's request.
Wow.
Yes.
Interesting. Can you elaborate a little bit more, please? I want to know more.
So we'd been talking about getting, upping the arsenal.
As every American should.
Yeah, right. And these times of like civil unrest potential, it's always good to have, a good stock of weapons and ammo because I'm a caring neighbor. And so we're like, well, what's the best thing? What do you want? And I'm like, well, I'll tell you what I want. I want a 5.56 NATO like AR-15. She's like, well, okay. What do we need? And I was like, oh, well, that's different.
You're actually, it's interesting you say that. I want to get this really nice tank I saw here. Hold on. Oh, practical.
So maybe for my birthday, I don't know. But
hey, you do have the big 4-0 coming up, huh? That's a big gift, right?
That's I heard like it's like weddings. You get a paper gift at year 2, you get gold at year 5 or whatever. So when you're 40, you get an AR-15. It's like an ammo box full of ammo. Right?
It's an unwritten rule. I mean, seriously.
I thought it was standard. I thought that was America. I wanted it to come like wrapped in an American flag. I told her that the shotgun's probably the best bet. It's point and shoot. So we started looking at shotguns, and we're like, well, let's get a cheap shotgun. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. I don't want to buy a less expensive shotgun because then we may indeed be buying a cheap shotgun. Because the last thing I want to do is go to use a shotgun.
I just got my stimulus check. Cheap, come on.
So she started like finding me. Here's a shotgun. I'm like, I've never heard of that gun company. What do the reviews say? So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. How about this one? And I asked around because I work in the government, so I asked a couple of, military type gun fanatics. What's your opinion on shotguns? And landed on a Benelli. So I've shot a Benelli before, shooting skeet, like a good old boy. But and I loved it. It was really fun, and it was really smooth, and of course, all shotguns kick like a damn mule. But other than that, so yeah, we went and we got a Benelli shotgun ordered. It's on the way. It'll be in on Wednesday. Super excited about that.
It's very cool, Bob. And it's very. I'm just going to point this out. I think a lot of the stiffies are going to be surprised. I think people hearing this may be a little bit thrown off, thinking by our conversations that you are a liberal guy, right, to a certain extent. But I think people might put you in a category maybe that you're not. You know what I'm saying?
Well, not everyone gets to see my layers of onion like you do, Scott.
Well, I mean,
no, I agree.
True.
I do. I think I get miscast by a lot of people or typecast, but I'm a free-thinking American, number one, beyond everything else. So I definitely not going to fit into someone's mold of who they think I should be. If I want a fucking shotgun to have in my closet, that's good. So,
look, if Bob wants to walk around his house with a cowboy hat and cowboy boots on and nothing else but a tube sock and a big shotgun, he's going to do that. I like that about you, Bob.
At least tidy whities.
Definitely. Tidy whities with some skid marks in them. There we go.
And a cowboy hat. It's more like a trucker hat and boots. With the shotgun.
Definitely.
So
well, I'm happy that you're up in the arsenal. It's always good to be safe and be prepared, Bob. And that's one thing that you did there. So kudos to you, my friend. And talking about just being prepared, I'm really, really impressed with the strategy that South Dakota has to fight the coronavirus. Did you see that? Did you see the strategy?
It's pretty epic. There's been this federal responsibility, states' responsibility, who needs to own this. And then I hear a lot of maybe the states will come around and one state will get really good at handling it, and they'll basically make that baseline of the best way and best practices to handle it. And then all of the other states will then kind of fall in line and use that approach. Well,
I think that's South Dakota.
Yes, and they use Mississippi as their baseline.
In case the Stiffies aren't quite caught up yet, South Dakota's governor and their plan was just to really keep things as usual, right? Business as usual. And really, I think the biggest part of their strategy and their three-pronged strategy was let's just hope for the best, right? And kind of, grit our teeth and we'll get through this thing without changing anything with our lifestyle or how we're doing stuff. Yeah. Did that work out okay?
Yeah, it seems to be doing good. Their cases are spiking with no sign of slowing down. So the governor got on the other day. Her name is Kristi Noem, right? So that's the first and only time you'll hear her name. You'll never hear it again, right? After this is over. She says, quote, "What we're doing in South Dakota is working," end quote. Now, that may be taken out of context. Fucking liberal media and their out of context bullshit. You can't ever trust them. Because what she meant was not what we're doing is working. She meant that what we're doing is like the verb, working. We're going to work. Like it's any other day. So what we're doing over here is just working. And it'll work itself out. Okay, good luck with that. How'd that work out, Florida?
Yeah, worked out pretty well. No, it's really ridiculous that we, again, with so many things going on, so many different situations where they could literally look at all these examples and decide, at New York, they just weren't working right. You know what I mean? They weren't doing it the right way, apparently.
Well, it's them damn city slickers don't know any better. That's what it is.
That's true. And maybe they thought they had a leg up. Maybe they thought they had a leg up because, let's face it, South Dakota is pretty rural in general. I mean, you got Rapid City, right? And you got like a couple other places that are decently populated. So maybe they thought they could just kind of scoot through this whole epidemic until it all blows over because they don't have a whole lot of people there or something. I'm not sure what the rationale was, but you are right. It sounded a lot like Taint Reeves and his just kind of praying his way through this, because that really worked out too.
Yeah, they're just going to stay the course and it'll be fine. Maybe they don't watch television there. Maybe they don't have radios. Maybe they don't have the internet. I don't know. I've never been to South Dakota, so I can't speak for South Dakotans. But man, that view is something else.
Tread lightly, Bob. We got a lot of potential viewers in South Dakota.
I don't want to alienate our South Dakota audience, so I'm trying to be very respectful of their point of view here. I want to keep receiving, my pork. And, I like pork. It tastes good. So
this is true.
Spare ribs soon. But yeah, it's a little bit ridiculous. If that's the view you're going to take, she literally said that I'm not going to shut the factories down because I think the USDA is handling it. What the fuck do you mean? You're the one that is fucking running your state. You're saying that this USDA is handling it, and the irony is that's a very kind of fascist view for a staunch Republican governor. That's odd. So this national federal organization is going to handle your state health issues. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. Never. I guess nothing really surprises me now. At this point, I'm speechless. So I guess we can kind of move on from that. I don't know if you want to waste more time talking about stupid governors. I think we did that before. And they're not smart.
I'm going to spare everyone my soapbox rants. I'm not going to call the governors pussies and all that today. We're gonna move on on with the show.
Well, let's move right along. I mean, hey, one thing that how long have we been in quarantine now? If we think about it here, I mean, it's been since March. I want to say like March 13th, 14th, something like that. Somewhere around that time frame, right? I want to say that's been over a month, right?
Yeah, I think I started myself on the 13th, And then the 16th, I think, is when the governor actually locked New Mexico down and started
Okay.
shutting businesses down.
So here it is, right? It's the 19th, right? So a little bit over a month for both of us here. Well, we've talked time and time again about the just living in quarantine and kind of the pros and cons and the differences there. I got to ask you, Bob, now that it's been about over a month, thinking about life beyond quarantine, when things get back to quote unquote normal, what do you miss the most about it?
Um, well, I miss my kid going to school. That
I
was
have to
awesome.
agree with you on that one. That's a good one.
Yeah, I could go for that. I miss haircuts. Haircuts are nice. By someone other than me. That's always good. Um,
True. I don't cut the best hair.
I personally, I've been fortunate enough to really not have to miss a whole lot because we're kind of hermit people anyway.
Sure.
We stay at home a lot, but just kind of going to the park, taking the dog to the park. I mean, they have like the kids part of the park naturally all caution taped up, and you can't use it anymore because it was already questionable with like hands, foot, and mouth, and all the other nasty shit that kids get because they're like walking petri dishes. But other than that, I do miss those normal outings of just kind of doing the normal things, taking the kids to the mall to go
Mm-hmm.
grab a bite and look at something or whatever. So those little normal things. How about you? What do you miss the most?
It was going to sound kind of strange, but I was thinking about it. Just seeing people that I know, people that work at those places that I go to a lot, and giving them a handshake, giving them a pound, giving them a hug, giving them a what's up. That's pretty big for somebody like me. I'm a touchy feely kind of guy.
Oh, I know you are.
Well, let's not talk. Well, I do have a non-disclosure on that one, so can you just kind of keep that one locked up a little bit? Anyways, but yeah, you know exactly what I'm saying. But that's got me a little bit more than anything else. Not that I need to go out there and start being Joe Biden with people or anything like that, but even just yeah, I miss giving a good random lady a sniff in the elevator. You know what I mean? But no, like just going to the pizzeria every Friday and sitting at the bar, having a couple beers, shooting the shit, watching sports
Oh
on
man, I
ESPN,
miss sports.
that kind of stuff. That to me was just like a beautiful ritual that I had every Friday to kind of decompress. I looked forward to. I know the bartenders that work there, so shooting the shit with them, and going to the movies. I got to say, I love taking my daughter to the movies, and getting all kinds of yummy popcorn and different kind of theater food there, and that whole experience. But I will say, probably just sitting at a sports bar, chatting it up with a buddy bartender of mine, and complaining about something the Redskins did on TV because they're always doing something stupid.
Like playing football games.
Yeah, if they could just if they could just stick to selling merch, they're much better at selling merch than playing games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you there. I miss beat ups, man. So beat ups, if you're out there, send me a care package.
Would
I,
that
Go ahead.
B-Dubs Buffalo Wild Wings?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, great
Yeah,
great establishment.
Buffalo Wild Wings, not Bob West. It's
I was like, wow, he's really getting narcissistic like Trump here. He's like, I miss Bob West.
I miss looking in the mirror at myself.
God, you're a beautiful man.
So yeah, just it's the little things, right? And I'm sure that there's a lot of small business owners that miss making money. So
Sure.
there's a lot more drastic things that people are definitely missing, and I miss that for them. Fortunate enough, like I said, that it hasn't really hit us too hard because I don't own a small business. Well, I guess technically we own the Stiff Truth, but all the money that it brings in.
But we are definitely. I think we checked on this numerous times just to make sure we are classified as an essential business. So
So we'll forge on. And we opted out of the small business loans.
We
so
did.
that we could share that with, the hedge funds.
I love that. Oh my
Sorry.
goodness,
That's
Bob.
definitely not funny because it's true. It really is happening. So,
Yeah, that's true.
but I miss going to friends' houses and having some beers, letting the kids hang out, and having a party.
Ooh,
Just a little
having get-togethers.
get together, social outings.
That was a big thing. I missed that on Easter, right? I missed that on Easter. I missed that on St. Patrick's Day. I used to go over to my buddy's house and we'd have like a nice little St. Patty's Day kind of party just for the entire afternoon, cook some great stuff. Of course, you got what is it? Cabbage and I'm drawing a blank here, of course.
Corned beef.
There we go. Corned beef cabbage, having
Yeah.
corned beef and cabbage, that's definitely kind of rough, But one thing I don't miss is thinking I'm picking up my beer at my buddy's house and picking up somebody else's beer and continuing to drink it and getting a nasty little surprise at the end. Don't you love when people just kind of go ahead and put out their cigarettes in their almost finished beers? But they make sure not to put any ashes on the top, of course, too. It's very incognito. That's always fun. I've done that numerous times. Has that ever happened to you?
It has happened to me. Not recently, but it definitely has happened to me. Grab a beer and drink it, and I'm like, did I hold this between my legs while I was sitting down for a while? It's awfully warm. Yeah, whatever, just pound it, right? And then that last swig comes in, and you're like, it doesn't taste right. And then you start thinking, did I feel something? Did I swallow something? Oh my God. Yeah. That's when you realize, right? Oh my God, I just swallowed someone's cigarette butt. And then
and there is a slight warning even before you get to the bottom and noticing that it's a little warm. It's like, my beer has a little bit of a smoky flavor to it. That's interesting. I don't remember that, Yeah. Warning signs, but you don't care.
When did MGD start smoking their beers? That's weird.
You're all, natural smoke flavoring in this beer. That's an interesting little mix there. I like that. Yeah.
I don't see that on the can. The bottle.
Must be a new recipe they have.
Right. I better watch out for the ad.
Yeah, honestly, to be serious with you there, I mean, I bring that up because I think that used to happen to us maybe on a weekly occasion back when we were younger. Now, not so much. I mean, if I really want to think about the last time that I did that, well, I'd have to be around a lot of people that smoke cigarettes, which has been a while too. Most people I know did quit eventually, as they come rounding the corner of like 10 years, 15 years smoking strong. A lot of people usually start quitting around then, at least with my experience. But I probably want to say maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, I think probably was the last time that may have happened at my daughter's birthday party. Yes, I think that's what it was when we were outdoors.
Well, it's
yeah,
the nastiest
that was
thing.
the time. That was the time.
Yeah, you don't really have to worry about it anymore because it's not very often that you really find people that smoke cigarettes anymore. At least under 50. If people smoke at this point, they're usually been smoking for 30 years.
Yeah, that's true. And I think it's great. I mean, I don't have the stats in front of me. I'm not going to act like I do, but I think cigarette smoking is going out of style, finally. And I think it's a good style to die because I'm not going to sit here and be a hypocrite. I smoked for close to 15 years, probably pretty heavily. But it was probably the easiest thing, honestly, opposed to popular belief to quit. I think it was very easy for me to quit. And then once you quit, you realize, man, when somebody walks by, that really fucking smells like shit. Really smells like shit.
So I haven't smoked now since 2015. And even though it smells like shit, every now and then I'll smell someone smoking at a gazebo or whatever at work, and I'll just smell it outside, and I'm like, I could do one of those. I still think about it. I would never do it anymore, but I do still think about it.
It sounds like to you, smoking cigarettes is kind of like eating ass.
Yeah, I can still do it. It's just that I just haven't in a while.
I guess I'll get in there.
Now, I do smoke cigars. So I promise, though, I'll never put one in your beer, Scotty.
Well, hopefully I noticed that one.
There's this big old stogie sticking out of the top, and you're like, I'm going to drink this beer.
Hold on a second. Isn't that right? Give me a high five, guys. That's great. Well, that was fun, Bob. You know what? We haven't even talked about it yet, but you said it was going to be a fun show. We do have, I think, a really, really cool stiff drink today, and another really fun stiff truth topic, man. I mean, I'm pretty pumped up about it. Plus, if you remember, we have a special announcement at the end of the show too, as it pertains to just the portfolio for the Stiffies.
Yeah,
I'll say.
I mean, we always have a special announcement. Well, part of that is because the show is so young and we're growing and evolving all the time that we do constantly have special announcements, and we have to announce things that we're doing in the show because it's that continuing improvement model. So, I mean, we're always trying to bring you Stiffies a better show, a better video, better audio, better content, better format, better everything. So, go ahead.
Yeah, really just letting them know everything. Like I wanted to let you guys know as an announcement that I'm really happy is I haven't had hemorrhoids in probably about 4 or 5 years now.
That's because that you now own a Stiff Truth shirt.
It's true. Those will go away. And I don't even have to use toilet paper anymore because I always get ghost poopies.
Since I put on the Stiff Truth shirt, I'm able to pleasure my wife better. It's it's a really amazing product.
Yeah. You're all of a sudden, I'm like this.
It's insane the benefits you get from owning and wearing the Stiff Truth t-shirt.
You know, it's interesting. I know a couple of the Stiffies have them out there, but I wonder if they've noticed the dramatic uptick in everything in their lives because literally I watched Jeopardy the other night and I got every single question right because I was watching my Stiff Truth t-shirt too, which was pretty impressive because I usually suck at that show. So, I mean, it literally upgrades every facet of your life. And I'm not even exaggerating.
Yeah, the other day my kids are running amok. I ran and put on my Stiff Truth t-shirt. I came down. All was quiet. I was a better father. I had a better approach. I was more understanding. I was able to listen better. I was able to convey my thoughts appropriately through the minds of a 3-year-old and a 13-year-old effectively to get what I wanted out of them. It was really impressive.
It does sound impressive. It's like the other day when I put my Stiff Truth t-shirt on, I believe it was 6 or 7 in the evening, and when my wife was like, hey, would you like something to drink? And I was like, no, I don't need alcoholic beverages to have a good time tonight. Let's just sit around the campfire and have good old-fashioned fun.
I don't believe that one.
You're calling bullshit on that one? Okay, Stiffies, we lied to you. There's no way to have fun without alcohol in the mix. Let's move on and stop lying to these amazing people out there, Bob. You know what I mean? Come on.
Well, I mean, it goes against the whole premise of our show. Nay, our existence.
Yes.
Since I was a wee lad, probably like 12 years old, I realized quickly that tonight's going to be much better if I slam a beer.
It's true. That's why they have $15 beers at every single event, sporting event, concert, or whatever. They know. It's like, hey, you don't need to have this. It's way overpriced, but come on, it's gonna be so much better after you pound me. You know it is. and they're right, Bob. And they're
just have this little conversation with your beer to yourself. Who are you talking to, Daddy?
I think we've been quarantined too long. I'll tell you what, it's interesting, Bob, too, because I never would have thought until quarantining and knowing that so many people are going to have so much spare time on their hands where they could just give their undivided attention to something stupid. It's really interesting that things like the Tiger King have become the pinnacle of stuff that's viral and everybody's talking about it. I mean, it's the new hot thing, which I don't know really if it would be if everybody wasn't stuck at home and having to watch Netflix right now. But have you had a chance to see this shit show white trash phenomenon?
I have, and I just got to say that for so long we've been inundated with all these high-end soap operas, right? Days of Our Lives, All My Children, all of that, right? And it's just
I
like,
can't believe you just called those high end.
and it's
I get what
very
you're saying.
nice. It's very nice to have a meth-driven white trash soap opera to view and peer in on. I've been missing that. That there's been that demographic that hasn't been represented since Jerry Springer quit doing his show. So,
And it's sad that that went away. But you're right. Tiger King definitely brought that right back in action, didn't it?
oh, it's a train wreck, and I can't look away. I've watched every episode.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to. I have to admit, I was a little late. I probably didn't start watching it until about a week or so ago. And I heard everybody talk about it. But goodness gracious, man! One thing I got to say right out of the gate about this show is, look, I've been around meth. I've dabbled in things in my past here and there. I've hung out with people that did this a lot. I've never seen so many people with so few teeth. Like, I have to really think how. Like, what's his husband's name? The one guy that ended up getting like a fake grill.
Is it John? I think it's John.
I can't remember the guy's name, but you know the guy I'm talking about that literally looks like he's got a can opener face. He's got like one tooth here, one tooth there, and then that's it. And then he's got like his bottom row.
Yeah,
And you're like,
I want to say
shit.
that dude's name is John. Are you going to fact check me real quick?
I'm gonna fact check you.
Because there's Travis, the dude that killed himself.
Yeah, the guy that said, "Hey, check it out! Look, these things." God.
All right, and while you're looking that up, there's another thing that I want to hit on about the Tiger King show. So throughout the whole show, there's the whole well, Joe and his two husbands, they did a bunch of meth, and I'm like, motherfucker, you're saying that all the meth that was done on that damn zoo was in Joe's trailer with his gay sex partners and husbands or whatever? No. There was rampant use of meth. I refuse to believe that all the people on that show were not engaging in several illicit drugs throughout the recording of all of these shows. Throughout the recording of the documentary from beginning to end, right?
Yes.
There's no
And you were
way.
right, by the way. It's John Finlay. And like when you look it up, he's like John Finlay's new teeth. His new teeth. Like, holy shit, look at his old teeth.
Good
what
for
the
him.
fuck happened there?
Because he's like,
Well,
he bought me like 4 trucks and some 4-wheelers, and I'm like, and he never bought you a grill? What kind of fucked up husband is that?
Dude, honestly,
Teeth
though,
get in the way.
dude, Joe Exotic is quite the character, though. I mean, if you think about this, he is a wild game enthusiast, right? In the sense that he takes care of them, not like he's hunting them. He's gayer than shit. He's a redneck. He's got a mullet. He's got bleached blonde hair. And did you see he's got like 8 or 9 like hoop earrings going all the way up and down his ears?
Oh, yeah.
Too? I mean, just so impressive to me how, I mean, that's a character. Like, I feel like if I went and tried to find all this crazy shit in my house, I probably couldn't even come close to making that character. It's very interesting to me. A lot of dynamics there. I think maybe that's what's kind of draw people into this guy because he's so outrageous. But one of my favorite quotes, I can't remember what he was doing. It was he was making a commercial or something. Oh yeah, no, it was when he was campaigning as the Libertarian candidate in Oklahoma. Which, first of all, I love his campaign manager. He's like, I don't think Joe never knew what a libertarian was. He still doesn't. And yet he was on the ticket.
But he got 19%, which is a fairly strong showing.
Well, he also was in Oklahoma. Not that I'm saying anything about Oklahoma, but you know what I mean. But again, going back to his commercial, his campaign ad, he starts off, he's like, look at me. I'm gayer than a $3 bill. It's like, yes, get him, Joe. That's how you started out and win people. I loved it, dude.
And he asked some questions. He's like, I'll tell that motherfucker. And I was just like, Jesus Christ.
Carole Baskins needs to die, that stupid whore. The guy's like, he's like, what do you mean I'm being accused of a plot to kill her? With every single thing that he said, it was like, oh, that bitch needs to die. Like, remember when he shot like the dummy that he had?
Yeah,
like,
the blow-up doll.
he's like, this is Carole Baskin. Boom! You're like, yeah, this guy obviously has no animosity towards this lady at all. Pretty good job there, guy.
No, very understanding and patient and empathetic towards her plight. Which I don't think there's any way around, though, that every time I watch her give an interview about anything, she has this disassociative stare in her eyes, the common thing that you see with sociopaths, and she's always like laughing at inappropriate times and can't like tie any emotion to a word or a question or event correctly. So I really have very little doubt in my mind that she indeed did off her husband.
Oh, dude, she killed him 100%.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind that she murdered that guy and took all of his money. And yeah, I mean that's neither here nor there.
And yeah, I think that was probably the plan from the beginning, right? It's I'm going to get with this old rich guy. I'm going to swindle him out of everything and just discard him. So whether she did it or she hired someone to do it, or that's irrelevant, right? All we know is that people that own planes don't disappear. They just don't.
Not unless you're Amelia Earhart. Too soon? Too soon?
It's only been like 100 years, dude. Slow it down. People need to recover from that loss. National treasure.
Oh, my God. La, 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 la. Well, what's interesting, too, is I had a hard time understanding for a while, especially as I got later into the episodes. I think I forgot. I was like, wait, why do Carole and Joe just hate each other too much? Are they literally trying to be the only show in town for having these kind of, we'll call them big cat sanctuaries, but we both know they were just fucking white trash wannabe zoos, trailer trash zoos. But was that the thing? Was that why they were so at each other's throats all the time? Or
well, I don't know how it started.
Do they even go in? Do they go into how it started, or did it start out of the gate like, hey, she killed her husband and these fuckers hate each other?
So they didn't get into a whole lot of it, but it was like, from what I remember from the show, it started off as kind of like internet mudslinging, where I just kind of, you do things the wrong way, I do things the right way, and he's like, well, fuck you, like killed your husband. Don't fucking talk to me about the right way, right?
This is true. That kind of ups the ante right there.
So
if you ask me.
I don't think it was about being the only game in town, because there was like a few more places in the country that did that, and there's that polygamous dude that's in South Carolina or North Carolina or somewhere. There's the dude in, I want to say he was in like Illinois or Michigan or something like that. So I mean, there's other big places in the country that were doing it. So I just think that it got personal and they were too narcissistic to let it go. Both of them have like, disassociative social, behavioral disorders. So I think that they're just batshit crazy and they got fixated on each other.
Yeah. Well, and it kind of shows you too, kind of switching gears a little bit, still about Tiger King. I was kind of surprised that both of the guys, he has ended up having 3 husbands. I think he's got like a younger kid that he's with now. Yep. But all those guys were straight. So prior to starting the relationship with Mr. Joe Exotic. So it's interesting to me is this guy really like that much of a gay Casanova, or is it just the power of meth with drug addicts? And toys.
I'm gonna say it's the whole power of meth. It's similar to how pimps get their whores to act right because they get them hooked on smack. Right?
Sure. You've got experience with that, right?
Yeah. So whenever I needed to get well, I'd have to go to my pimp and get my fix, and I'd do whatever he wanted because he had the shit. So, yeah, I think that is, there's that chemical control, and there's the grooming thing, right? Because he started all of these guys off when they were like 18, 19, 20 years old.
Yeah, 17, 18, 19, really wet behind the ears.
Similar thing with that other guy, how he groomed women. The polygamous guy, same thing. He got these girls right out of high school and said, you're going to come be, an intern.
You're talking about Jeff, right? Jeff Lowe?
Yes. No, not Jeff Lowe. The dude that owns another zoo in like South Carolina.
Oh,
the dude that was riding the elephant all the time.
Okay, gotcha.
I forget his name, but that guy did the exact same thing Joe Exotic was doing, just with women instead of men, and he had more money because he was a better entrepreneur, to be honest with you. But yeah, very similar, very very weird that they both were predators like that, and just kind of wondering if that has something to do with how they ended up in the big cat game. I guess I don't know.
Well, so horrible too. Like, I mean, in all seriousness about this, what's kind of really sad is I saw this stat. I think it was at the very end of the series. There is, or it might be at the beginning. I can't remember. But there's 4,000 tigers in the wild, is what they said. Just 4,000 tigers. There's 5 to 10,000 tigers in captivity in the shitty fucking backward zoos in America. And what's really, really sad, besides inhumane treatment, killing them and stuff like that, is inbreeding, man. I don't know if you saw a couple of those tigers, beautiful looking white tigers, and they get to their face and they look fucking retarded. Their eyes are crossed. I'm like, dude, one of the most majestic looking animals, and you've got like, you know, a tarred version of it because you guys are just inbreeding. It was pretty sad, man. I don't know. That's just my thoughts.
Yeah, the big cat game is definitely a weird thing. And it's funny, I saw something going around the internet that was just like, stimulus checks are in and people are buying stripper poles and dildos and tigers. And I'm like, what?
Jesus Christ, dude.
She's like, so you're not going to buy a tiger? My wife tells me, and I'm like,
why?
You got to feed that thing like a damn cow leg every day. Who can afford a cow leg every day? You know how much a damn cow is? Damn cow's a couple $1,000s. No way.
The other really interesting about this too, I think it was at the very end that they kind of dove into this, but Joe Exotic's supposed to be the Tiger King, right? The Tiger King. Dude was fucking scared shitless of tigers. And there's a one video of where he's in like the pen with them. Mm-hmm. One of them is blind and the other one is on tranquilizers. Dude could not even handle being around tigers, but yet he carved this position out for himself. Very ironic and strange to me.
Well, he was a very good showman and pretty savvy with with PR, right? Pretty savvy with his PR work and how he manipulated the perception of him. So for, you know, a strange old meth head, he was pretty smart at how he actually got into that business and grew that business, because that's not an easy business to have. That's very expensive. I mean, they're talking about millions of dollars a year going in and out of that business just to have the people coming in and feeding the tigers and take care of them. And like that's a lot of revenue to juggle while you're fucking smoking meth.
That's another great quote from him too. When he's in there, he's like, "Oh, I'm fucking never gonna recover from this financially." It's like, there's some shit. And you're like, "Yeah, probably not, Joe." But you know, it's interesting. Did Joe? Because Joe has his teeth. So did he not partake in the meth use and just kind of dish it out? Was he one of the smart type dealer guys that didn't get high off his own supply? Because I believe he had a full head of teeth the entire time.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe he just, you know, went to the dentist and...
I guess there's that too. I mean, occasionally, even if you do drugs, if you just go get your teeth cleaned every 6 months like they say to, usually your teeth don't fall out of your head. Is that what you're saying?
That makes a difference. It helps. Okay. Every little bit helps.
Looks like I need to schedule an appointment myself.
So yeah, no, it's a pretty crazy show. It's not exactly my cup of tea. I can see kind of the allure, because a lot of people, you know,
it's a train wreck.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't really know that like there's these crazy meth heads that are dealing with tigers, and I wouldn't have put two together like that as far as meth and the tigers. I just knew that there was a bunch of crazy tweakers out there that did some crazy shit, but this one actually recorded everything, which is ironic coming from a meth head, because meth heads are so like obsessive and paranoid about it that this guy was actually like running around high all the time with cameras rolling. That's fucking crazy right there. So
yeah, well,
very unique.
To sum it up, I guess I got my fill of white trashy TV for a while. I don't think I'll ever rewatch it. What about you?
No, probably not. Once probably enough. I got the gist.
I got the gist. You're like, all right. You're like gay, redneck, meth, tigers. Okay, I got it. You know, that's enough.
Yeah, and it's funny too, because like the crimes weren't all that juicy. It was really the characters, right?
Yeah.
Like if Carole had actually been killed, and there was a real murder there to like figure out, That would have been way more dramatic. And it was just this like plot to hire. Was it a plot to hire? Because if your hitman doesn't even actually like
go to the state, remember?
like do anything, is it really?
He's like, and who does this? Like, hey, I'll give you $5,000. Okay, all I can come up with is 3, so just take the 3. And he's like, sure, I'm going to take the money, and then I'm not even going to go to the state of Florida. So, but then you got Joe again. Every opportunity and every person he could talk to, he was saying, hey, Carole needs to fucking die. Would you mind killing Carole? Hey, if you would kill Carole, I would give you a lot of money. I mean, you can only say that so many times and not have this kind of come back on you. So, I mean, poor planning on his part,
Yeah, murder's a tricky issue like that.
You usually can't role play it and talk about it before it happens too much to too many people.
Yeah, normally
kind of a rule of thumb.
You don't really put the feelers out on a topic like that to see where it's going to take you.
Guys, you're all total sidebar here, guys. I know we were talking about the best Asian food, but has anybody ever killed anybody or know anything about hiring a contract killer? Just going to throw that out there for food for thought. Yeah, it doesn't usually happen.
Because I'm really trying to look into the logistics of murder. But I don't want to do it myself because everyone would expect that. And no one would expect me to actually have money to hire a hitman, so...
What kind of tires don't show tread the most? What kind of weird question is that? Oh, I have no idea.
Anyway, back on track. Anyone know where to get any good quality fake IDs? Just a random thought. I don't know. Just topic of conversation. Just wanted a small talk.
Yeah. So is it true that if I shoot him with a shotgun that it's not traceable? Is that true?
Right. So I heard if I burned my fingertips that I wouldn't leave fingerprints. Is that legit? Why are you asking, Joe? Oh, no reason. I
was just going down the rabbit hole on YouTube, saw it on a random video.
Oh man. Well, I think that's enough about Meth Joe and the Tiger King. I'm ready for a drink. How about you?
I am definitely ready for. Bob, I thought you'd never ask. Yes, it's time.
Let's go make ourselves some drinks. We'll be right back.
All right. See ya. But we're back, Bob. We're back.
We are. We have a very special, exciting drink today. I haven't had one in at least a week.
Honestly, I'm gonna tell you too. I haven't had one. I want to say in maybe about a year or two. To be honest, I think the last one I had was a couple years ago with my buddy Blair.
Yeah, before a week ago. It had actually been a long time. My wife just kind of brought me home the stuff randomly like a week or two ago. But before that, it had probably been like 10 years, 8 years, something like that. A long time ago. Too long to remember when. So,
and it's too damn good of a drink to let it go that long again. So never forget. Let's do it more frequently. And what are we talking about, Bob?
Well, first off, I would like to let everyone know that we do have a special presenter. This week's stiff drink is presented by Straight Line Roofing and Solar Consulting. The best mix of quality and affordability for families in New Mexico. Straight Line Roofing and Solar Consulting is an authorized dealer with Nexsus Energy Systems. So thank you, Straight Line Roofing and Solar Consulting, for this stiff drink.
Nice, yes. Solar is the way of the future, too. Let's go, baby.
Having said that, raise them up, buddy.
What do we got?
This is an Irish car bomb.
Hello, sir.
So, bombs away. Ready? All right, let's do this.
Here we go. Alley-oop.
Wow.
Wasn't that nice?
That was fantastic. I love that sweet, the Irish cream flavor right at the end. I love it. So,
You know, it's interesting. I barely put any Irish cream into my shot glass, just enough at the top, like a little bloop, 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 bloop. I was like, that should be good.
well, that was fantastic. So, by the way, we did find out in preparing for this stiff drink that an Irish car bomb is really only something that's said in America. Apparently, it's very offensive to the Irish, so we want to let everyone know. What is the less offensive way to call these, Scott?
Yes, if it's basically just take out the car part of it, really, because you can call it an Irish bomb if you want to if you like that. More commonly, though, it is called an Irish slammer. So I kind of like that one. I think that one's a good one.
What if we just make up a different word for it? What if we called it like the IRA weekend work? No, offensive.
I think that's what they're trying to get away from here.
Oh, okay.
The years of like turbulent like terrorist acts between the the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. I don't know. That's just maybe me, but yeah, I heard that. Interestingly enough, is I had no idea that was the case until when I was going to college. I knew a couple of foreign exchange students that were from Ireland, and both of them really frowned upon that dramatically. And when I ordered an Irish car bomb, when I ordered an Irish car bomb at the bar, yeah, I got the what's what from these guys. So it was interesting, but it kind of makes sense. You know what I mean? It's kind of like.
So like we don't have like, hey, what's an old fashioned called? Oh, that's called a Southern slave owner.
Yeah,
oh, that sounds delicious.
Or, what are you guys slamming? I was like, oh, this is the Twin Towers. This is a good one. Yeah, no. We're gonna shy away from those kind of drinks. You know what I mean?
I can see how that could cause a problem later on.
Well, what's that? Oh, that's a Jim Crow special. Oh, interesting. No, I don't know about that.
So we will call it the Irish Slammers, and we'll show some respect to our Irish brethren because I love Irish. My grandfather was mostly Irish, so.
I was just about to say I'm half Irish, so got to give some props out to those guys. Love potatoes, love whiskey, like Guinness.
I like shepherd's pie.
Ooh,
I'm sure I could get down with some haggis. Haven't had it yet, but I like crazy shit, so I probably like that too. Definitely like my corned beef. And again, potatoes are just like the best. So we love you. Really we love you, Irish folks.
God bless all my Irish peeps. You know what? I don't know.
Oh, sorry. We wanted to get that story out there because we want to make sure that the future generation knows how not to be as offensive when you're getting drunk with an Irishman. So that one's for you. It's all about teaching the kids and teaching the children.
It really is. We got to educate the kids about everything because one of the last things that you do want to do is really piss off a drunk Irishman. Not that it's stereotypical or anything like that, but they tend to get a little fiery. So you want to avoid that, kids.
So
lesson learned.
All about the kids.
Yeah, definitely. So we got that out of the way, buddy. Do you want to unroll and talk about the stiff truth? Do we have a topic today, or are we just going to kind of freeball it?
Well, I'm betting that people that are watching this on YouTube are wondering why do they have such creepy backgrounds. This this show. There's a reason for that.
That's actually my wife taking a shower. She's just trying to get out, and I won't let her out. So
Oh, okay, well that explains yours. I've been broadcasting here in these woods.
And the Blair Witch Woods.
Yeah, and the sunlight hasn't changed at all. It's very precarious how that's going on. But
very ominous, very ominous.
No, this week's Stiff Truth, we wanted to talk about the best slasher movies and the best slasher character. What? Yes.
Let's get to it, baby.
Now, you and I, Scott, have always liked slasher films, horror movies in general. I've never been a real big fan of gore or Hostel or that. What is the one that everyone likes? The
Saw?
One with the Saw. Thank you. was gonna say the
Uh-huh.
little dude in the tricycle.
the, little
Yeah.
cute, the cute little clown on a tricycle. He's adorable.
So to me, the scary part's always been the suspense and the anticipation and the what the hell would you do if, not the whole I'm strapped down and someone's about to like tear my leg off with a tractor. That's okay, shock value, whatever. But for cinematic qualities, I've never been a gore guy. I've always been a suspense kind of slasher. Are you going to get away from him or not? And who's the killer? So that's always
Who's going to make it out? Yeah, I'm the same way, and I think that's the first thing that we have to do is we have to draw a line in the sand here for all the stiffies. I'm sure a lot of them already understand that, but there's a huge difference between slasher films and really just regular horror movies and just gore movies, right? Because gore is really just all, God, I almost want to say it's like the shock rocker version of horror movies, right? If Marilyn Manson or like Ozzy or Alice Cooper with their stage shows could be a horror movie, they'd be more of a gore movie versus a regular, horror movie in general. And there's really nothing scary about looking at a bunch of fake special effects guts. It's just kind of gross sometimes. I mean, if they're really hitting it spot on, and don't get me wrong, the real winners in those movies are the people that are doing the effects, right? Like the wardrobe effects and everything to do, like make them look all crazy. The makeup artists are really obviously very good. So you got to give it to them, and maybe we can have a separate conversation about the best special effects artists that do gore movies. But yeah, other than that, I've never thought there was anything scary about just showing me disgusting guts everywhere. You know what I mean?
So there's something for me personally is I grew up from in East Texas, and I grew up hunting. So
Yeah, it shows.
ripping apart a deer and tearing off all the flesh and cording it up and getting it ready to take to the butcher to get all your processed and get all your meats cut off of it and everything. So when I'm seeing the gore, I'm just like, it's nasty that it's a human. But I mean, other than that, flesh is flesh, blood is blood. The parts are a little bit different in animals, and it's whatever to me. It doesn't give me the shock value as if I was just this like really sheltered suburban kid growing up, right? And I'd never known anything like that. And on the other side of it, I know a little bit of like things happen that are fucked up in the real world, and by that token, I'm not a fan of Faces of Death and that shock and gore and all that either. I'm just not into it.
See, I will take a little bit of a different opinion on Faces of Death. I will say and God, I'm sure some of the stiffies have no idea what the fuck we're talking about. Please Wikipedia Faces of Death. No, this is literally something that was late 70s, early 80s, kind of
VHS.
Kind of
VHS.
I think it kind of creeped into the mid to late 80s, but it was pretty much shut down after that. They started doing Traces of Death, which was like death metal music to like the same kind of things, and a lot more of it was fake. But let's face it, like some of the original Faces of Death, it was just people taking video of shit that went wrong. You know what I mean? Like there was that one guy that
executions or something.
Yeah. Well, I remember there was one guy that was bungee jumping off of a building, and the cord was too long, and his friends were recording it. That was a tough one because the dude literally just fucking boom, bounces off the ground. You're like, whoa, that's fucking real. And his girlfriend and everything that's like, oh my God, starts screaming and shit. I saw one of them where like it was a ritualistic thing, I think in India or some country like that, where they showed how they get like the delicatessen of monkey brains is they usually get a live monkey and put his head in a fucking vice and fucking pop open the brain that way. It was good. It's different than a gore movie, but I hear what you're saying. Some of it's a little bit over the top. And then as they went further into the Faces of Death, they got away from the real live, hey, we caught this on video. Like, I don't know if you remember, like, I think the most infamous one that I remember is, and then I'll get away from Faces of Death, but obviously I got a little excited, as you can tell when you brought that up.
Of course.
It's very nostalgic too, but I remember this because I lived in Florida, and this happened in Florida. There's a lot of people that skydive in Central Florida. And I think there's, again, late 70s, early 80s, there was a skydiving competition, basically where they try to land on those bullseyes, right? Like they have those big fields and everything, right? This one guy does it. He's like the champion. He does like a perfect one. He goes up to do his second run, and the wind just kicks up out of nowhere and blows this guy off course about 1.5 miles, right? So then it goes to, again, the real home video shit, right? There is a family that's literally at an alligator farm. They're feeding the alligators, right? And this person like is, kind of, watching their children, husband or whatever, feeding it, and all of a sudden you hear people fucking screaming, oh my God. They look up, dude is off course, and where does he land? Right in the middle of the fucking alligator pit, dude. And it's so crazy because the dude As you can tell, he's coming down. He's coming down. It's like the fucking gators are already starting to jump up at him and shit. You're like, oh, they're super fucking hungry too. And he's screaming like a motherfucker and literally just falls into the water and gets ripped the fucking shreds on video. Great shit. Now, you can only get so many of those on film, right? Those are kind of lucky. I don't know if you call them lucky moments, but just rare moments that you can actually get on film. So they started fabricating as they got older, and they got old, and then they got into what you're talking about. But anyways, I'm done.
Yeah, and it's not me. It's actually the wife that's into the faces and traces of death. But I do have them all. So if you would like them, just let me know. And
Here's one thing I love about you, Bob. You're always such a sweetheart of a man. I don't know if I said that before, but it needs to be highlighted. Everybody, Bob West is a sweetheart of a man. Let's move on.
So, long story longer, we're circling back to the slashers. We wanted to talk about, our favorite slashers, and I probably got a surprise pick for who my scariest motherfucker is.
Really? Would you like to start this off then, sir? And
it's... Go ahead.
Set the scene, sir. Set the scene.
So maybe it's my age or when I was growing up or whatever. My sister thought it was a good idea when I was 5 years old to show me the very first Nightmare on Elm Street.
Good for her.
So I literally feared Freddy until I was a teenager. So very, very impactful movie for a 5-year-old. So, I didn't show it to my son until he's at least 11 or 12. So,
well,
go ahead.
That's a good sibling right there. That's a good sibling, if you ask me, because my older brother actually showed me the very first Friday the 13th when I was 4 years old. I actually used to run down the hallway of my house because I was so fucking scared. And then when I went to go to the bathroom, I would do that checking in the shower curtain to make sure nobody was in the shower waiting for me. I did that for probably a good couple of years. I wasn't scarred at all, though. Trust me.
Well, I will say this: for several years, when I would go to sleep, I would try to pump myself up. When I go to sleep, if Freddy comes, I'm going to manipulate my dream and be a badass. That's how I'm going to handle it.
Like the Dream Warriors. You're going to fucking change. You're going to turn the tables on Freddy, huh?
Right. Because that worked out so well for so many people.
Well, that whole movie was a shining example of how well that works.
So, yeah, that was my thing. Freddy was my childhood terrorizer. He was my scariest motherfucker ever. I didn't even know by the time I saw Friday the 13th and that Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I had already gotten over my Freddy fears. So the rest of it was just oh, these guys only come after you when you're awake. so for me, Freddy was it for me personally.
Good. I like that. I do like that a lot. Myself, I hate to always do this, but I seem to have kind of cut things in the sub kind of rankings and things like that. But
you got to have a top 3, huh?
Well, it's interesting because I have my favorite horror movie character, right? My favorite slasher, which doesn't quite line up with my favorite slasher movie. Okay. And I have to separate them because it makes a big difference for me. At first, I'm going to go with the icon, like you just did, right? Freddy to me was very, very good, but Freddy was more comical to me than scary. He was good. He was good with the jokes. God, he should have been up on stage with a mic, every night in people's dreams. Is this?
Yeah, and I'm sure Robert Englund did some incredible stage acting and awesome acting, but we would have never known.
Yeah, we would have never known. Then you've got Michael Myers, right? And I think Michael Myers is maybe, in my mind, the best character for a slasher film because his origins are so kind of weird and dark. You know what I mean? It's just it's very strange. Nobody can really explain why Michael Myers is so fucking crazy. He just flips his switch when he's a little kid and kills his sister, and they're like, "What the fuck did you do, Michael?" And then he's in a mental institution forever, and you're like, "Well, he's pure evil." So I kind of like that story a lot, right? And then you go to Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th to me, probably the first 8 fucking movies, I think, is the best slasher series. I just do. The music, the You know, that going throughout the first like 6 or 7 movies, the iconic hockey mask that nobody fucking uses anymore. I love it. It's very throwback. And I think out of all of the movies, it really, really highlights I think just the theme of a slasher movie, right? Teenage kids partying, having fun, caution to the wind,
all
doing
drunk,
some drugs.
yep.
Yeah, doing some drugs, having sex, having a good old time. The really the coming of age type horror movie really, I think, started with Friday the 13th, and it really didn't go too much into that kind of play and that kind of storyline and in Nightmare on Elm Street, nor Halloween. I think Halloween, the only one that's kind of like that, is number 1 and number 2. And then they start breaking away from like the teenagers, you know, going out to the cabin, having a good time, and then fucking all getting slaughtered, right? I really like that. So there was a time in my youth to where I literally could watch over and over again, like 1 through 6. I think were the only ones that were out at that point, and just be totally engulfed and just immersed in the amazing horror slasher ability of not only Jason, who seems to like have like retard strength to like the 10th degree, but also the music. I think the music is probably the most iconic in that movie. Now, let's just say this: I do love the theme for Halloween. I think that's hands down one of the best themes ever. But just the intense thriller kind of suspenseful music that is original to Friday the 13th. And his character always coming back, and you know he's always going to come back. You can't kill this fucking guy. I think Friday the 13th is number 1 for me. Now,
which one was it? 3 or 4? Where was his mom?
Number 1 was actually
one was the mom. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
1 was mom, and then mom gets killed at the end by the character.
But you don't find that out until later, right?
Right. And then number 2, he starts wearing just like a burlap sack over his head. He doesn't quite find the hockey mask until
That's
the
right.
end of number
That's
2.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember.
Which number 1 is great because Jason's barely, I don't think he's even in it at all. It's his mom, crazy as fuck, killing people for him, because if you remember, the reason why she hates teenagers and camp counselors and kids that are having fun is because they were all doing that at Crystal Lake when they ignored her son drowning, and they were, you know, he drowned to death while they were having fun and living it up. Hence why they always come back there and kill everybody, right? It's kind of, you know, they're getting them thing. Now, flipping the script though, if I'm saying, okay, what is the best slasher movie? It's not going to be any Friday the 13th for me. It's not going to be any, even though I would say Halloween 1 is up there on my list. But if I'm going to knock it off.
I think I know where you're going with this.
If I'm going to knock it right off, I don't know if you do. The best movie, in my opinion, is the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974.
Oh, you threw me for a loop. Nope, I did not think you were going to go with that. That's a good one. That's the first time where shit got real, right? Like, this is like some fucked up like people did this. This is like some real shit.
And it's loosely based off of a couple of things. We all know originally the character and like the cutting of the faces and the wearing of ears and everything is from the serial killer Ed Gein. Now, he was based out of Wisconsin, and it was the 1950s. So obviously taking it to Texas was different. But I did learn that there was actually another serial killer in the middle of nowhere in Texas where they actually kind of cemented having that story in Texas. So it was like a twofold thing. But that original movie, there's two things about that original movie that make it for me. One, let's face it, dude. Leatherface is the most fucking disturbed serial killer, like slasher of all, if you ask me. Like, not like Jason and Freddy and Chucky and Pinhead, whatever, all those other guys. Pinhead's like kind of a totally different one, but you know what I mean? They didn't find any pleasure, or at least they didn't show you on screen, like doing stuff to the body after the fact. You know, it was just like, I just need to kill you real quick. Jason would be like, I need to pick you up by the head and fucking stab you in the throat with this knife, and then I need to walk away because I'm done with you. My job is killing, not having fun with the body parts. Right. See, that's where Leatherface comes in and says, you know what, I'm going to kill you, but before I kill you, I'm going to put you in this fucking cooler. I'm gonna leave you in there for like 24 hours. Then I'm gonna like prick off all your fingernails and toenails. After that, I'm going to start flaying you, right? And like, it was just a process where it was constant, like, oh shit, now what's happening to this dude, right? The other thing that was very interesting about the first one, opposed to the remakes, and like, Leatherface 1, 2, 3, the one with Matthew McConaughey in the early 90s, that's great, whatever. I think those movies kind of suck. That's why I didn't want to say the whole series is great. But the original one from 74, it's got that classic shitty fucking recording from the 70s feel that just makes it that much scarier, dude. You know what I mean? And the actors, they suck, and they're all like, again, in their stereotypical 70s attire. But I think that low quality film, very similar to like the early like Friday the 13th too, for me, it really ups the just the creepiness of it with that low quality filming. But that's me.
Interesting. I like your split decision there.
You're never you're never going to get one answer from me from these kind of things. Usually, I've got layers too.
You are a very detailed, layered man, and we appreciate the intricacies that is Scott.
I think you just said I talk too much.
So, if I had more arms, I would have brought up another car bomb up here, but instead I just brought a
You know what's funny? I brought two.
Oh, look at you go.
Shall we take a quick break? Here we go.
No, it's okay. I'll have one after the show. It's okay. I finished half of my school today, so that's good.
Bob is so jealous right now.
I am a little bit jealous. A lot of bit jealous, really. But, yeah.
Hold on. I feel so great. I just feel so great.
It feels so good when it hits your lips.
Bob, do you know what I'm saying? Well, you did like 10 minutes ago, but now you don't. You know what I'm saying, right?
So, I'm loving the Irish Slammer. Yeah.
Careful there. Careful.
Gotta represent for the kids. Yeah. So
there we go.
No, I'm with you on that. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, obviously being from Texas, that was huge. Growing up, in fact, so much that's where the chainsaws without blades came into the haunted houses, right? So every time when you're exiting a haunted house, there was always some Leatherface character there chasing you with a chainsaw with no blade on it, and it was always scary as shit and made everyone run. So even if you're like, oh, this ain't real, either way, don't fucking touch me with that chainsaw. I'm fucking out of here. I'm not going to stop and look at it.
There is nothing funny or lighthearted about a very large man that looks like he may have a mental disorder, but not quite sure, wearing your brother's face as a mask and just firing up a huge chainsaw. There's nothing funny about that.
No, I agree.
It's
no
wait, is that
my
is that my brother's face on? What the fuck? And now he's gonna. Okay, all right, here we
go.
It's funny too. I'm running now.
It's funny too when you'd like leave the haunted houses, and you like almost knew that it was gonna be there, but even still, it always became the essential like last man standing. It was like, well, I don't have to outrun that guy with the chainsaw. I just got to outrun you. Right? Let him get you. I'm out of here. So, yeah,
Bob, I'm interested.
Yeah.
I'm interested. Where did you think I was going?
Oh, so I thought you might go to Scream.
Interesting.
When you go to Scream 1, until you find out who the killers are, it's pretty terrifying, and it's classic slasher. And it's fucking like 8-inch fucking... chef's knife, like through the chest, classic slasher. So right up until that point, now the rewatchability, it's not the same, but I mean it's still a good series. But that first Scream, when it came out in what 96, I want to say
95, 96, something like that.
There had been such a drought in slasher movies up until that point for a decade. Right, there just hadn't been a whole lot going on since the Nightmare on Elm Street's kind of fizzled out. Right, they were doing
96.
They were doing the Friday the 13th movies 10, 11, 20, whatever. It's so old hat by that point that they're really watered down. The Halloween movies, they were good, but again, they just weren't really captivating.
I tell you what, they got a lot better recently. Reintroduced Jamie Lee Curtis. I don't know what she does with these films, but everyone that she's been in, including H2O in the last two, they're fucking phenomenal. Like
she's the original character. I mean, it's the same reason that we all want to watch the new Top Gun.
Yeah, right. True. I mean, true. Come on, who doesn't want to see Maverick? Give me a fucking break. But yeah, you're right, because she is the original scream queen too. She kind of dubbed that.
Small waist, huge tits, crazy scream. Jamie Lee Curtis.
There you go.
For real. She set the stereotype. You got the part. Yeah, she set the stereotype for like 30 years.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Like you have to have a blood curdling scream, a small waist, and huge tits, and you can be the first one to die.
Yeah. That's true. Or the one that lives. It's up to you. It depends on how squirrely I'm feeling when I'm writing this one. Now, let me ask you this. We knocked out your number one. You didn't have a split decision here. I'm very interested in number two. I don't know if I'm going to go much further than that, but I would like to hear your number two, sir.
Yeah, mine's Halloween.
There we go. There we go.
Love me some Mike Myers. Way before he started doing Austin Powers.
I laughed at that like a fucking retard because I knew you were gonna go there and it still made me laugh. So, anyways,
but I love my Michael Myers. That dude is just such the steadfast. I don't care about life, anything, pain. He's the closest thing to the Terminator until the actual Terminator came out, right? I mean, that dude. Sure. He's had like several things wrong with him, even like neurologically, to where he didn't feel things. when you cut him back or you're fighting him off or whatever, he just stumbled for a second and then came right back. Like, I don't care. I'm about to die from my artery getting cut in my arm, but I will kill you. And so that dude was just very, very stone-faced, natural slasher to me. Very scary. The mask was awesome. Jason was good, but the hockey mask always kind of turned me off.
Interesting. Well, and I have to agree with you. If I'm going to go number two slasher movie series, I was having a hard time kind of weighing that one and Friday the 13th. I only went Friday the 13th because personally, there's just certain scenes in the first 5 or 6 movies that are so amazing. And the one thing I have an issue with Michael Myers and his series is Halloween 3 has nothing to do with any of the other movies. Remember the Witching Hour or wherever the fuck, dude? Michael Myers is not even in the movie. So that's why I thought of that for a minute. I was like, okay, 1, 2 are great, 4 and 5 are awesome. And then you start getting into like H2O and shit like that, which are all great movies.
Yeah, but even Star Wars made Return of the Jedi.
All right, this has been a fun episode, guys.
I'm only teasing you, but yeah, you're right. There's always a bad film. Which one is it? Is it Nightmare on Elm Street 5? One of the Nightmare on Elm Streets is just ridiculous too. I can't remember which one it is off the top of my head.
I saw 5 in the movie theaters in 1989, by the way, so I don't think it's 5.
And then there's the Freddy.
That was the one that was
to hell.
That was the one. Do you remember the one that was 3D? The Freddy that was 3D? That's the one I saw in the theaters with my pops, like back in 89 or 90. It was a good one.
You go, like 10 years old.
Yeah, loving life.
You weren't even 10 years old yet. Wow. Good for you.
No, I wasn't. Yeah, I was like 8 or 9, something like that. Who cares?
So yeah, this makes me just want to inundate my wife with slasher films for the next 3 weeks.
Wouldn't be a bad thing. I got a 5-year-old daughter that's she's ready.
She's ready to be terrified every time she goes to sleep for the next 4 years. I'll be showing Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah. Every time she goes to the bathroom, she's gonna be checking in the shower to make sure behind the curtain that nobody's ready to stab her. Good stuff. But it's interesting that you say I would probably, just because I think and you're right. There was a refreshing just revamp of the slasher genre in 1996 with the first Scream movie. And I will say, the first time I watched that movie, I was like, holy shit, this is an original good movie. Yeah. This is fucking good, right? And you're right, though. The watchability of it, again, it's one of those kind of almost Kaiser Soze Usual Suspects who done it in a certain way too, right? So once you figure out that it's just 2 stupid stoners, you're kind of like, okay, not really cool to watch the second time around. Unless you're watching it with somebody who hasn't seen it before, you want to show them how original it was. So,
Right,
and
but
then
the first time you watch, you're like, "Oh my god, I can't believe it was two killers, and it was
yeah.
these two of all people." And it was really a mind blowing thing. It really opened up the floodgates of slasher movies again. Because even like I Know What You Did Last Summer, it gets a bad rap because of the second one, and it's just kind of made fun of. And then Scary Movie came out and poked fun at all the movies or whatever. But the first I Know What You Did Last Summer was pretty good, especially because of the
what do
again.
you want from me? What do you want from me? I've got huge tits. What do you want from me?
So a Scary Movie and the success that it had also, gave a tarnished legacy of some of the '90s slashers that came out.
Which is great. Which is great because they even get into a lot of other stuff. But yeah, Scary Movie, I think needed to come out. I mean, we could maybe talk about best slapstick movies, parody movies
That's another
on
show.
another day.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
another
absolutely.
day.
That's another.
Okay,
That's another show.
Let me ask you this then. Out of everybody, right? Out of the big hitters here, and we haven't even named a couple yet. Who would be at the bottom for you? Like, you know what? I get it. They're in the category, but for me, this one did it for me the least. What are you thinking?
Oh, I'm trying to think of. It was a character that was like the Leprechaun, but it wasn't the Leprechaun. It's a different series. Oh, and I can't remember his name. I should have prepped for this. I didn't know you were going to ask me this question.
Pumpkinhead? Because that's a good one, actually.
What was it?
Pumpkinhead.
No, not Pumpkinhead. No, I can't think of the name. I'm not going to waste our time trying to think about it. Maybe I'll follow up on the next show and give you that answer and give the Stiffies the answer of the worst one. But there was a specific movie that was so bad, and it was in the timeline of the Leprechaun. And it was very B, and it was very terrible. And I can't remember what it was, but I'll have to do some research to even find the film, and then I'll show you, and you'll 100% agree that it's terrible.
All right, well, I'll just tell you what mine is, dude. And don't get me wrong, I love these movies, but out of everybody in this category, Child's Play has to be on the bottom for me, man. And the big reason is don't get me wrong, there's something about creepy dolls that'll get everybody.
Annabelle's scary as shit.
Yeah. Well, Puppet Master. What a great series that was, my friend. What a great series that was. But the thing with Chucky with me is it's funny. But it's, to me, even though I can't believe I'm saying this because it's fiction, but it's the most unbelievable because honestly, if a little fucking 2-foot doll was trying to kill me, I have a hard time thinking about me not just being able to punt him so fucking far and put him into a fucking dumpster that collapses and crushes him that the movie's over. You know what I mean? I don't think him holding onto my leg while I'm freaking out and trying to spin him off. It's not that scary, and it's really unbelievable that somebody can't just fucking throw that doll really far and it's the end of the movie.
If we're going true slashers, Chucky's at the bottom of the premier list, the box office list, right?
Don't get me wrong.
Box office.
I love the movies. I love the one-liners that he has. He's fucking hilarious, dude. The follow-ups are really good. The story is actually pretty interesting and everything. But to me, out of people like Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers, fucking Leatherface, he just doesn't really seem to fucking muscle up to the other guys.
Well, he's not scary.
No, he's not. He's supposed to be funny.
If you were 8, he'd be scary.
Scary as shit.
Right, so, there's something to that. But, no, if you're a grown-ass man or grown-ass adults, and, Chucky is not scary, that'd be like a Teddy fucking Ruxpin with a knife. You wouldn't care about that. Kids, Teddy Ruxpin is a doll that had a cassette tape in its chest back in the 80s, just for reference. Sorry, I didn't realize that when I said that, 90% of the population aren't going to understand what a Teddy Ruxpin is.
Oh, that's true. Well, and they shouldn't either. It's something that we all should forget about, just like...
It's like the live version of the Berenstain Bears. I don't know how these Jew bears got so popular, but here they are.
But I will say this, though. Who do you think is a better horror director? John Carpenter or Wes Craven?
Oh, man, that's kind of like a coin flip, though.
Well, remember Johnny's responsible for Halloween.
I know. Yeah, I know. There's another one in there too. I want to say it's Clyde.
Clive Owen?
Clive Owen. He's the one that did
No.
Candyman, right? Which
No, no,
Candyman's also someone we left off the list.
No, I'm sorry, Clive.
Barker.
Yeah. He did Hellraiser too, man. I'm almost guaranteeing that. Clive Barker, yeah, he did Hellraiser
Barker.
too.
So,
Yeah.
that's tough.
Clive, Hellraiser, I think is a. I was talking to my wife about this earlier too because we were talking about. She knows I'm a huge Hellraiser fan. I'm not going to categorize that as a slasher film.
He's more of mystical.
But there's multiple people, and it's not just him, and it's not just him going to chase people. You have to unleash them, and then it's like all hell on earth. But it's just a different story. Don't get me wrong, though. Me and my wife, every single Halloween, what we do is this. It's like, hey, we're watching a shitload of one type of horror movie. What are we watching? We started doing names out of a hat, and then if I don't get the name out of the hat that I want, she already knows that I'm going to fight it. So we stopped doing that.
Redraw.
Yeah, I was like, no, let's do it again. But I do love watching the Hellraiser movies. One is because there's a dramatic uptick in quality of the movie from the very first Hellraiser to the sequels and everything. But it's interesting blend of a slasher movie and like a suspense, you know what I mean? Kind of psychological thriller type movie. I don't know. I don't classify Hellraiser as a straight up slasher movie, and that's why I left it.
He's in a different genre. I think so too.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I can't really talk about the directors. I mean, I want to say I don't think it's Wes Craven necessarily, just because of I don't know if it's body of work overall, but I don't know, it's very tough. I mean, you're splitting hairs there. You really are. So sorry to write the fans for you, but
no, it's okay. And the only reason I bring that up, John Kerry, is
John Kerry was a politician in 2000s that ran for president.
But here, listen to a couple things, and we left off one, my wife's favorite horror movie, and it's not necessarily a slasher movie, but the original Last House on the Left from 1972. That's her favorite movie, and it's directed by Wes Craven. But listen to his body of work here. Some of these: The Hills Have Eyes, the original one, not the remake from 1977. Nightmare on Elm Street is Wes Craven too, right?
Right.
Shocker. Do you remember that one? The guy that gets a death sentence by electrocution? Well, okay. Jesus Christ, Bob. Two in the pink, one in the stink,
Real mature.
But do you remember that Shocker was a movie from the early 90s where the guy was sentenced to death row and got electrocuted? That was why they call him Shocker. And he's like a hardcore, criminal killer, and he comes back to life in somebody else's body and jumps bodies or whatever and kills people. It's a good movie. But People Under the Stairs,
okay.
Wes Craven, right? Now, Vampire in Brooklyn, also Wes Craven. So let's not read too much into his mastery right here.
So not everything he touches turns to gold.
No, but he also did all the screams. So that's why I mentioned that. He's got Last House on the Left, The Hills Have Eyes, Nightmare on Elm Street, and then People Under the Stairs, Shocker, Scream. Pretty good catalog. Not a bad catalog for a guy, but we're getting too far into a subtopic. So I'll stop now.
Thank you, because we have a special topic that we need to get to.
You're all, Scott, could you shut the fuck up for a minute?
So, a very, very interesting thing happened over the last week. We have launched our new The Stiff Truth Patreon page.
Yeah, baby.
So if there's any of you guys out there that want to contribute to the show, want a couple of perks and bennies for the different level of patronage, please hit us up on Patreon. Look for The Stiff Truth. We are there. We have several tiers. Everything is appreciated. It's just a way for us to try to reach out to the audience. Obviously, you guys probably already know what it is, but if you don't, Patreon is a place for you guys to contribute monetarily to the show, as well as a place where we also will have events coming up, like live episodes, content that's released there before it's released anywhere else for our patrons or our patrons. So, anything else you want to add?
I just want to. I guess I just want to elaborate a little bit on how exciting this really actually is, because one thing it's doing is it's forcing us to put out a lot more content. And forcing, I don't want to say like I'm in jail and somebody's forcing something into me in jail, but I want to say it's just helping us create a lot more content, and it's getting us really energized about doing so, knowing that we can do a lot of things now that are not only going to be for everybody out there to get, just in general, but we've got a lot of exclusive things that we're going to be doing, like Bob said, the live shows. There's also a lot of other little short clips like our short and stiffs and other things that we're really developing a catalog of that I'm really excited about. So yeah, I think this is really going to take the experience, the entertainment value, and just the catalog of what you can get from the Stiff Truth to the next level. And we're only going to be able to do that with help from you guys. So that's really the important thing.
So if you want to support us and you want to help out the show and you want to be #part of the solution, visit us on our Patreon page. Just go to Patreon and look up the Stiff Truth. We're very easy to find, and we'll be, we'll be posting it up, the links in the comments of the YouTube, and we'll be getting it out there on Facebook. So, speaking of YouTube, we need people to subscribe to our channel. I don't know what it is, but you guys watch all the shows. When I look at the analytics of the subscribers to non-subscribers, it's pretty crazy. Please, if you like the show, subscribe to us, like us, ring the bell so you get notified when we have new episodes. And we will be ramping up the short and stiffs on YouTube soon, but those videos will be cycled through the Patreon page first, so that our patrons will get the videos 2 months before they're released on YouTube.
And guys, just so you know too, I mean, I don't know if we've elaborated on this before, but what the hell is a short and stiff besides somebody that has a small penis? I will tell you.
Hey, don't talk about me.
Hey, Papa Trump, sit down for a minute. Papa Trump, sit down. No, what a short and stiff is it's really just really punchy, great content in a short period of time. So the average short and stiff, what would you say, Bob, could be anywhere from 30 seconds to 2 minutes, and that's about it, right?
Yeah, they're just quick hitters. Right?
Yeah, they're quick hitters, man. Yeah. So it's basically stuff that me and Bob have combed through all of our content that we have. We do this tirelessly for hours and hours and hours because it's very hard to go through everything. But there's some gold in there, and we're basically cutting out amazing pieces of content that's not quite for somebody that wants to sit through an hour and a half long episode, but just wants something really fucking funny, really quick, and to get out of Dodge, right?
Yeah, our short and stiffs are anything from, parts of our show might make it, but more importantly, Scott and I have this belief of always record everything. So we record our meetings, and we say something stupid and funny. They oftentimes turn into short and stiffs. So look for that content coming up here this week. I mean, the Patreon page is live, so things are happening here. The show is growing, and I want to thank all of you. Our stiffies are so invaluable to our creative process, the input that we get. You guys really drive the content of the show. You really drive just our show in general. We wouldn't do it without you, and you guys are the reason that we do the show. So thank you for your time. Sincerely, it's really a privilege to have this show to give to you guys.
Wow, Bob, you almost made me cry there a little bit. I was tearing up, but at the same time I was tearing up, I was getting a half chub. Is that weird?
I think it's a half stiff.
Touche.
All right, guys, that's all we got for this week's show. I want to thank you guys for your time, and thank you for listening. And we will see you guys next week.
See you guys later.